Hey guys, David. This is Express Auto Transmission. We like to play with transmissions here, and we like having you guys here watching our videos. So thank you guys for watching. Welcome back. We're gonna go see what's on the bench today.
This is the 456 hub. This is the shaft.
The idea behind that is to get as much oil to the fourth clutch as quick as you possibly can. And we've got a beautiful vacuum. All right guys, made it back to the bench. It's been a long day, I'm tired. But customer, Fred Burge, called, said, hey man, the 4L80 that you built for me a couple years ago is doing great. We want to upgrade and put a real trans brake in it and make this thing functional for a little bit more power. So we've got a 4L80 on the bench today. This is mated to a LS motor in a 240Z or 240, whatever the heck that is, whatever. Anyway, little bitty car. And it's got a turbo and stuff on it, and he is wanting us to upgrade this thing and put in a Jake's D3 performance valve body. The current setup is running a sloppy mechanic style trans brake on the car. So what he is doing is he's actually tying two shift solenoids together to create a false brake, so to speak, to allow this thing to launch, which it kind of works sometimes-ish, somewhat. He wants it to be more consistent, so we are actually going to take apart this transmission. This unit I built a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it's been now, it's been a little while, and he has got several track passes on this thing. We're gonna try if we can figure out how to link some of his track pass videos to our description, or maybe put a little link in there to get to his page so you guys can check out the car in action. And we're going to show you guys what it takes to put the trans brake in this transmission. So we'll do the tear down and then we'll come back with the rest of it. So we'll see what has happened inside of it in the time that it's been in the car. Well, we've got a little bit of materials in there. Not too bad. Filter looks pretty clean. See if we can get some stuff unplugged here. Get our A and B shift solenoids unplugged. Get our pressure switch manifold unplugged. This one can be kind of a little bit of a turkey to get out of there sometimes. At the time that we built this thing, we used a Transgo shift kit. I am not as fond of that system today as I was at the time that I built this transmission, so we will not be discussing how to install that thing or much about that shift kit outside of that's part of it. So if you guys get the pan off of one and you are going to tear it apart, that tells you that it has a Transgo shift kit in it. Hey-o, dropping tools. All right, grab my impact because it fell off, and the socket. So one thing I was doing, even whenever I was using the Transgo kit, was using these Torlon check balls. Something we've talked about several times is these check balls. If you guys want to build one at home, I strongly recommend putting these check balls in over using the steel check balls. Reason being, if you look at our separator plate where the check balls have been riding, such as this spot right here or this spot right here, you'll notice that the plate has not actually been beat out by a steel check ball like they typically do. So for those guys that don't know, that is what happens. Now we're going to take our input speed sensor out. Take our output speed sensor. Let's get both of those out of the way because we don't need them right now. And we're gonna yank the pump out of it. right, I'm gonna move this pan out of our way, mainly because we don't need it in the way at the moment. See if we can get our pump to pop out of here freely. Sometimes they'll pop out, sometimes they won't. Alright. So we definitely have some heat checking in that bushing right there. This is actually the Sonax bushing. I'm really particular about that. Biggest reason being is it helps support the end of this input shaft. One of the issues in the factory design, in my opinion, is the end of that input shaft is not supported very well. Now that we got our pliers out, always forget to grab those things. Get our overdrive planetary out of here and see what we got going on here. There, snap ring. Whew. Well, the good news is it doesn't look like it hurt the sprag. Get that old heavy snap ring out of there. Whew. And it does not look like it hurt the coast clutches, so we're good there. Overdrive planetary looks like it's in real nice shape, actually. I don't see any real wear on the pinions. Get a little bit more in depth with that guy here in a minute, but let's get our fourth clutch housing out of here. Gotta get this bolt out of here. This is the Transgo heavy duty bolt. A little different than the factory bolt, but it works. Got our overdrive clutch housing. Now, let's see what we've got inside of here. Overdrive clutches have been hot. They're definitely a little burned. Not completely torched, but they have been a little on the warm side. Get our forward clutch out. See what we've got here. Oh, we got some of those fancy blue ones. I forgot about that. So we've got a Durbond bushing in the back there. Got Rebestus blue clutches with choline steels. Alrighty, so as you guys can see, I build my forward clutch a little different than some of the high horsepower guys. I like to use the wave spring. I use the choline steels. I use the blue clutches. Something that I don't think gets addressed enough, and this is my opinion only. I don't really know if anybody else really cares. You see how those rings go into that drum. The only thing sealing the forward clutch oil for the forward clutch is these two Teflon rings. This bore is very critical. I get these in a lot where guys have not caught that this drum has actually been wiped out right here. The bushings going bad or the bushing going bad on the back here allows this drum to rock on the shaft. It'll actually just sit there and walk side to side like that. When it does that, it chews into the side of the drum, causing a giant leak. So just little heads up information there. So next we've got our direct clutch. There's a couple of different ways to approach this. Some guys will try to use their fingertips and hold on to it and peel it out of there. I've seen some guys use different pliers and picks and stuff like that to get down inside of the spring cage. I don't like to do it that way. I like to pull the snap ring out if I can get a hold of it here. Somebody put in one of those super heavy duty snap rings. Get that snap ring worked out of there. Pull the snap ring out and then grab a couple of top clutches or however many you get a hold of there. Get Get those out of the way, and then grab the drum. Guys, you'll notice that our direct clutch setup is quite a bit different than our Ford setup. We do still have the blue clutches. These are the Raybestos blues. You'll see that they've got a little bit of heat marks to them. We expect that with a couple of years of just straight abuse on this car, but the steels have slots in them, and the reason that we use the slotted steels on the direct clutch is to try to get as much oil flow onto the clutch to try to keep them cool. Some guys say that's bull crap, yada yada yada. This is the way I do it, and well, that's just all there is to it. This transmission has lived a very healthy life for the last couple of years and been beat on tremendously, so we're just gonna set this stuff off to the side. We're gonna put some new clutches and some new steels in this thing to refresh it for the trans brake. But to keep everything organized, we're just gonna put it back together real quick. We've got the standard sprag race on here. Notice that there's no big grooves in the back of the direct drum. It's another area. The shaft that this rides on is on bushings, and when the bushings wear out, this drum is allowed to flop side to side. You get a lot of sealing ring wear in that area. Now we have to pull out the intermediate clutch and the coast clutch band, or kickdown band, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember. Doing the trans brake, we are actually going to eliminate this band. We will no longer be using it. So we're just going to set it out of the way for now. Get our servo out, and we will pull out our snap ring. I can put my pick in here the right direction. Get our intermediate clutch yanked out of here. They've been a little warm as well. Now we've got to get our snap ring out. This snap ring can be a little fun sometimes. It is not uncommon for the snap ring to get a little lodged in there, so I try to pull it out before I take the center support bolt out. Try to use that to keep a little bit of the retaining pressure against it. And we've got our snap ring. We are going to pull the center support bolt out and pull the gear train out. Whew. That one was a little warm. Get our rear servo. Grab our case fitting in the rear. Now we will grab our gear train out. Gonna pull our center support out first. And out comes the gear train. Go ahead and pull our front planetary off of here. Move our Torrington bearings and our washers out of the way. This bushing is a extreme wear area in the 4L80s. If you're building one for high horsepower, this shaft needs to be replaced. These bushings on this sun gear shaft are very, very important. If you're not putting new bushings in these things, they are not going to live no matter how you slice the cake. So always replace those bushings. Set that guy off to the side and get our rear planetary apart here. Got to pry underneath the snap ring just a little bit. All right, bearings out of the way. For you guys that are wondering, that is a 15 thousandths end play shim. That's how I set the end play tolerance in my 4L80 for the rear of the unit. We actually use these little shims behind this bearing, which forces the sun gear shaft to come up. So, all right, guys. Well, to me, this thing is not in too terrible a shape. We're going to have to do a few modifications, put some parts and pieces in it, and do some stuff to make this thing live. So we're gonna round up some parts. We're gonna get the valve body unboxed, figure out what all we gotta do to make that thing work on this thing, and put our two things together and have this nice thing along. Anywho, we'll be back for more. Don't forget, hit the like, share, subscribe.